Hello and welcome back, folks, to our Challenger Cup European Edition, week number 5. On the right-hand side of your spectator UI, we're going to see Potato Boys, Suntouch and Dirgius' team coming out, seed number 2 overall, while Disco Ninjas, very high-seeded as well, will find themselves on the left. They're going to go ahead and ban Thor and Serket. Want to make sure that that jungle is devoid of any real dangerous stuff coming out. And Potato Boys starting off with the Mercury ban. We'll see what they opt to ban second. What kind of ban would you like to see here, Raffer?
It's a really hard one to call. Ra, Jeb, definitely not Newer, but they went ahead with that.
And the first pick, Vulcan. Welcome to Europe.
That seems a bit random. I think the Circuit ban was also for Proxy's solo, because I know he runs solo from ranked.
Yeah, I mean, Proxy runs virtually everything solo. Expect to see the ROM. We actually see the ROM hovered over. Expect to see the ROM first pick over here for Potato Boys. ROM is Suntouch's Hunter, period. If Suntouch doesn't get ROM, you expect to see the Freya on him. It's less that he cannot play other gods and more that he plays ROM at a high level. And Odin's going to be locked in. We're probably going to see this on Dirgius. Once upon a time, before the warrior nerf, Dirgius just loved Odin. And after the change to Odin's kit with the bird bomb, etc., Dirgius likes him again. I'm not sold on Odin support, but I don't hate it. I just think it's situational against the healer, and with Vulcan being picked first by Disco Ninjas, I'm not sure if I agree on the Odin pick.
I love the Odin pick if you're going into a Vamana, or to stop the opposition from picking Vamana, because it's such a hard counter.
I do like that. Yeah, if you can draft the rest of the team to make use of that ring 100%, because when you pick the Odin, you're picking a ring, right? Because bird bomb damage will fall off, plus it's just so haphazard to use 2 of your abilities, one of which is a leap to deal damage. So that's kind of problematic. But with Odin, you're picking the ring. You're either picking the heal reduction or you're picking the enclosed space. Agni can make very good use of that enclosed space from Odin. And we're on to the counterbans.
I'm not a fan of how these teams are drafting the supports really early, but there might be something I'm missing. Because there's no supports that are banned. And
exactly,
there's plenty on the table. You've got Athena, Jeb, Odin, Bacchus. There's so many. There's no need to pick him this early.
Yeah, I mean, especially the Bacchus pick early. Bacchus is generally looked at as a tertiary pick. We see a lot of, obviously, Geb and Athena as we talk over and over again about the power of those two characters. Neither are banned. Neither are picked. Counterbans come out, Loki and Freya. I'm a fan of that. Freya going to be banned out. So Loki banned out, and Freya banned out, both of which could wind up in the solo lane. So those are effectively solo lane bans, and we'll see Potato Boys go ahead and pick up this. I expect to see a solo lane pickup here for Proxy.
I think he'll save his solo lane till last.
Why is that?
Personally, because you can counter the other solo laner if they pick. I'm not sure on the lineups for solo lane actually, but you can always pick the counter if you're the last pick.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that makes 100%. That makes 100% sense, Raffer. They go ahead and they choose to Hun Bats, and more in depth from that's why you're joining us. If you're new to the broadcast, folks, my name of course is F. Dot here as always. And joining me is Raffer, jungler for Mortality. Going to bring us a lot of insight as we go into the game. If you're interested in some more of his own personal, professional SPL insight, follow him at twitter.com/iraffer. You can see him play live at twitch.tv/iraffer. One more time, jungler for Mortality. So taking a look at this Ymir and Hercules pick for Disco Ninjas. I don't know what to make of this comp, and Potato Boy's going to hover over the Cabrakan. We'll see if they allow Dirgius to play the Cabrakan.
Yeah.
Dirgius has wanted to play Cabrakan
it's
for a
fun.
while. Yeah.
I love the Disco Ninjas team comp. Early game, is such a strong team.
Yeah, the Ymir and the Hercules. There's a lot of synergy there to just control the enemy while Vulcan and Apollo rain damage on during you said early, and I definitely think early, but mid game is where we're going to see Disco Ninjas really start to shine.
Definitely, they need to invade these buffs, keep everywhere warded, and keep forcing these fights. And when they're healthy enough, do an FG, keep the Apollo split pushing, and you can easily rotate into fights quicker than Ram.
100%. And taking a look at Potato Boys, with gods like Zeus, Agni, and Ram, Odin not so much. Hun Bats will always be relevant from level 5 to hour 5 if the game lasts that long. Please don't. But Zeus, Agni, and Ram, obvious late game gods. So Disco Ninjas are going to look to pressure early and then try to win in the mid game, and Potato Boys will try to hold on and either get an early lead, so much so that their hyper carries are far, well, not hyper carries, but their strong late game gods are up before they need to be, or just hold on to the end. We'll see how it works out. Disco Ninjas with their Curious Vulcan first pick. Potato Boys, as always, we will see Suntouch on Ram. Stay tuned to see how these semifinals go. This European Smite Challenger Cup action, week number 6. Welcome back, folks. We've got the semifinal matchup, one of the semifinal matchups for your European Challenger Cup. This is, of course, week number 6. 5 weeks are in the books. This week and the next week remain. The top 2 seeds, currently Potato Boys, the team on your right, Red, and Agilitas, the team that we just watched recently, are the number 2 and 1 seeds, respectively. They will battle it out against the bottom 2 seeds of the SPL. Right now, a lot of contention. Team Coast looking like it's going to go to relegation, but the other spot kind of up in the air. A lot of competition out there in the European region. Getting this game underway, Potato Boys, crowd favorite, spamming in the bleachers are chat. Potato Boys being made up by Proxy QQ, going to be playing that Zeus in the solo lane. Suntouch and Dirgius making up that long lane. Suntouch will be playing Ram, Dirgius on that Odin we spoke about. Arrow and Adapting will make up the rest of the team. However, we will have to bring this game back to you. A little bit of technical difficulties. Bear with us. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned for Disco Ninjas versus Potato Boys. All right, folks, we're here underway. Disco Ninjas versus Potato Boys, your semifinal matchup of the afternoon. Disco Ninjas in the blue on your left-hand side. Qin and Vote NBK will make up your long lane on Bacchus and Apollo. Curious Bacchus pick. No Geb or Athena in this game. No bans either. Hyperion will be playing that jungle Ymir. Little nod to Frostiak of the SPL. TK will play that Vulcan, most likely picked because of Arrow's success last week on this Vulcan. Vulcan's a character that really succeeds based on the player themselves. So I haven't seen TKYO play the Vulcan, so we'll have to see how it works out. But essentially, Vulcan is, if you are a spectacular Vulcan, Vulcan can be a better pick than most of the other standard mages. But if you are an average Vulcan, you're better off picking the standard mages. So we'll see how this really develops going forward. Vulcan middle lane versus Vulcan solo lane. Raffer, as a jungler, where do you feel Vulcan is safer?
I feel he's safer in the mid lane, to be honest, because he can clear so fast, and even if you come in to try and zone him or poke him out, he does a lot more back to you, put it that way. Throws the meatball and uses his cannon, and you're on half HP, and if he places his turret too, that's even more harass you're going to take. So if you take that sort of harass as a jungler, you're going to lose something for it if the team capitalizes on that.
Yeah, and the turret is always so underestimated. Here comes an early rotation into this middle lane, but Adapting not going to go ahead and aggress onto TKYO, just going to pick up some farm. And this is the Rambozo strategy we see each and every time. Quick rotation over to speed buff. We have the dual lane show up, and the middle lane will show up as well. 4-man rotation onto the speed buff. Every single time Rambozo's plays, they do that exact play. And Potato Boys taking a nod from Aduro, gonna go ahead and do that. And Proxy gets an early kill in the solo lane all by himself. That Zeus isn't what I would call an early game god.
He's really strong early game, in my opinion. In the fact that he's got kill potential. His wave clear isn't that great, but if you're on the last few creeps and that chain keeps bouncing across, you're pretty much dead. And I didn't even realize it was Solana in solo lane.
Yeah, we have Solana playing the playing that Hercules. So Disco Ninjas is a team that a lot of these players have been in and out of the competitive scene. Qin previously support substitute for Cloud9 once upon a time, and Hyperion also has played on a number of quasi-competitive teams as well. So Disco Ninja's not as lauded as Agilitas and Potato Boys when we talk about the European scene over here, but definitely have some experience on their roster.
Yeah, I was thinking I've seen that name somewhere at Solana. Nah,
Yeah,
he got replaced for us. He wasn't because he was like underperforming, because he is a really, really good player. It's just, it was more, we're trying to change the team, and Sayo could play in the play-ins, whereas Solana couldn't.
Sayo's been...
And Sayo's just a beast.
Yeah, Sayo early on has been fantastic for you. We've seen him slide a little bit, and Sayo can get into his own head, and we've definitely seen that a little bit, but the mechanics are there. I mean, it's really no secret that, you know, we don't play favorites here in the broadcast booth, but it's really no secret that I'm a very big fan of what Sayo can bring to a team. So that's solo lane for Mortality. The team that I Raffer jungles for is very scary when Sayo wants to do it. Left side mid camps being contested. Durgius goes ahead and drops the rings. There's Hyperion's ultimate. Rob's gonna jump in the air. Fantastic job from Suntouch to avoid the Hyperion ultimate. Durgius will secure the kill on the enemy. Vote NBK picks up Durgius in exchange, and there's the Vulcan ultimate. It will hit Arrow, but only about 25% damage. Now here he comes to finish the deal. Backfire not going to finish, adapting, turret not there, and the blink from Hyperion gets the freeze onto the middle laner, and the stun is TKYO, and again, just barely getting out of there. Arrow has about 5 HP.
It's really, really unfortunate.
Great rotation by Proxy right there. Solana not able to follow him. Used his 2 ability to really speed up the process, but Solana just either didn't notice the rotation or felt like he didn't want to, but that early solo rotation is incredible. So it's something we see a lot, and the early rotation in solo you have to follow because you're not going to get enough off of this tower to warrant it, especially if there's a kill. And for Proxy, not only did he get first blood, but that's going to be his second kill. He's level 7 overall and highest level in the game, and that's a Zeus.
Yeah, I want to see some invades in this game. Just invade the buffs and just force team fights, because they've got a really, really strong team camp. That'd be the best thing for the red team at the minute. For the blue team, sorry. The early game is really, really strong.
Yeah, the early game and the mid game is what Disco Ninjas really need to do. However, Potato Boys have really turned this around. Stun onto TKO, and a great aggressive dash from Arrow. They want to do this, but adapting can't finish it off with the Sacred Monkey, so TKYO will be safe under his tower. Ult the wave just so that he can safely back and get the gold for that and heal up. Hyperion going to come from behind and prevent anybody from really hurting his middle laner. And again, we see this timed gank onto the speed buff. I love this decision by Potato Boys to completely dominate this Ymir speed buff. Completely just taking Ymir out of the entire left side of the fight, the left side of the jungle, and Hyperion can't do anything about it, especially because his mid laner had to back.
It's perfect plays really on this speed buff, but they shouldn't get away with doing that. They should just go all in, just collapse and just force the team fight. They're in their territory, so let them know that, because the more
stun out in the middle lane. Hyperion has to cancel the ultimate a little bit earlier than he'd like to, because he does want to keep that. He does want to keep his life. He's very low. He's about 30% HP, so needs to stay on his feet and not on the ground. So he opts to lower the damage of his ultimate and just walk away. TKYO. We'll go ahead and farm the rest, and 3 members of Potato Boys are going to come over here for the left-hand mid camps. These will go to Potato Boys almost undoubtedly, as only Vulcan is here to contest. Qin will come around the side, but this could be a dangerous situation as 2 levels the enemy's junior. Here comes Qin all by himself, locked him in the ring, and the bounce is down, so he's going to be stuck there. It's just a matter of who gets the kill, and Suntouch is the one to pick it up. 4 kills to 1, going the way of Potato Boys overall. We're only 6.5 minutes into this game, folks. Adapting actually going to go ahead and pick up the right camp as well. 2,100 gold in the lead is Potato Boys, and Disco Ninjas might have the early game comp, but Potato Boys have the early game victories so far.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. How would you think the Humbat should build this game? Because I was just thinking about it. Do you think you should go more for a carry build or CDR as a team fighter?
I would love to see. I would love to see the utility build coming out from adapting. I want to see him build into penetration boots and then a Jotun's Wrath, and you know, go into the CDR just because with the kill potential of Proxy QQ Arrow, you're really strong. Plus, combined with the Dirgius Ring, and Sun Touch can just provide you support from the backline with that ultimate on Rom. It's not really adapting's job to kill people here, I feel.
Yeah, that's right. I think the CDR choice is excellent because essentially the blue team should be forcing fights every single time they have cooldowns because of that team comp. But now they're losing by 2k and they're really far behind in experience. I don't think you're going to see them winning a fight anytime soon unless Potato Boys make a misplay in their positioning.
Yeah, adapting doesn't really need to go the other build, of course, is rushing that Deathbringer because of the passive guaranteed crit or 30% crit chance on the after fact coming out from adapting. So, CDR, I also agree, is the way to go on this monkey build. Speed buff should be coming out for Potato Boys relatively soon, so adapting will find himself over in the left-hand lane looking at Gold Fury.
I don't like this card.
Yeah, this is a little precarious. They're getting a little too they're up by 2100 gold, not 5100 gold, so I'm not really sure they can take that fight all in. Potato Boys make the correct decision, and they do back off, and they're coming around Hyperion. Here's the Bird Bomb, going to take out a little bit of Hyperion's damage, and there is the jump from the Monkey over the fence. Adapting gets the kill onto Hyperion for the 5th kill on the red tally marker. Proxy and his solo laner Solana opponent doing all right, adapting, kind of shading over, wants to play it carefully, but Solana has spotted him out. Doesn't have any wards, but he actually visibly saw him through this hole, but I think he thinks he left because he's willing to push up a little bit more.
Yeah, I think if the Zeus zone, then it would have basically forced him to come out, but with the baseball it's really hard to zone someone.
Yeah, that ultimate, that boulder does just so much damage. Left-hand side, good invade coming out from Potato Boys. Not able to get the blue buff, but they dropped it. And Solana actually is going to kill adapting. Between the Ymir and the Solana Hercules, just a lot of control and stuns. Adapting is going to go. And again, we see this come out from Potato Boys now and then. They get an early lead and they're not careful. They're just not careful sometimes. 2100 gold still in the lead, so that mistake from adapting can be forgiven. It's not really going to impact the game too much as long as Disco Ninjas doesn't make a play off of it, which they're not able to do. They can't really invade on the jungle. They're going to go ahead and try this on the Gold Fury, but Dirgius is here. Hyperion's going to cut his health in half, though. Arrow with a great stun. Jump in. Dirgius goes ahead, secures the Gold Fury. Steal, kill, steal. Sun Touch picks up vote NBK in the back. Hyperion very low as well. An Arrow willing to chase. Meatball in his own, so no fireman coming here for the red team around the corner. They're just going to be all right. And adapting one more time. It's going to take this speed buff. Ymir has not seen a single speed buff.
Yeah, that's the problem. When you make a play like that, you're forcing a Gold Fury that's not required. You're 2k behind, fair enough, but you just want to think about your experience. Just keep getting experience in other lanes, and as long as they're not invading your stuff, then it's fine. But the fact they've just wiped at the Gold Fury, and they lost the speed buff yet again, it takes so much experience off the jungler.
Yeah, it was, I respect the decision, or no, I respect the mindset of trying the Gold Fury. We got to do something. We're a little far behind. But the second Dirgius shows his face, you leave. That's not something you want to do. Odin is burst damage. You have the Vulcan. Like, it's not something you really want to handle this low. Beautiful Aegis coming out in the middle lane from TKYO to save his life underneath his own tower. Arrow level 12. TKYO only level 10. So, and this is really what I was afraid of here. We're not seeing that incredible Vulcan play come out, and if you're not playing Vulcan incredibly, you're really just not playing him at all, frankly, in juxtaposition to the Agni, who's playing rather average, you know. And I mean, Arrow's doing well, he's just not doing anything exceptional. And if you're if you're doing average against an average Vulcan player, you're going to be doing better than him.
Vulcan's one of them gods where he's got so much poke potential. I think the kill potential's not high, but the poke potential is ridiculously good.
Oh,
You
yeah.
shouldn't be invading your stuff. It's like I was watching earlier. He didn't poke the Agni once, and Agni rotated to the speed buff, and he rotated on top of him and did nothing, rather than pushing middle to deny a whole wave of experience off the Agni. And that's why Agni is such a high level on top of the Vulcan.
Yeah, it's just a small attention to detail coming out from stuff like that. Backfire at this point, Vulcan is level 11. Backfire at this point should completely clear the wave or close to it. So that leaves the meatball 100% to poke, and we're just not seeing it. Remember, it's deep for the blue team on this middle lane, but that burst damage from Dirgy is just too strong, and left camps are going to go to him. Right camps are spawning in about 5 seconds, and 2 members deep are Potato Boys and TKYO all by himself. It would be cool to see a Vulcan ultimate right here, but he's probably going to save it. Yeah, I really shouldn't contest this, so both mid camps will go to Potato Boys. 13 minutes in, 4,700 gold going the way of Potato Boys, but more importantly, 8,800 experience. The difference between the two middle laners, 2 levels, vote NBK, 2 levels beneath the Hunter. Just experience overall across these lanes are lopsided.
I would have liked to see Dirge take the small camp then, just to deny him that experience. That would have been really good.
Yeah,
But
I
probably getting the red.
They're going to get the red, but first they're going to try and pick up Solana. That's a Hercules, and he's going to dash perfectly out of both Proxy's ultimate and the Bird Bomb. Solana picks up Arrow in the backline with that boulder. He's actually playing this very, very well. Good change from coming out from Proxy QQ, and adapting during that fight, picks up the red buff. Great decision from adapting not to join the fight and instead steal that red buff. It's going to mean a lot, keeping Hyperion down even more so. Hyperion's level 10, Adopting's level 13, just hit level 13, and the ability to take that off is a really good heads-up play.
Yeah, taking that red buff instead of a kill, it's almost as good as a red buff when you think about it, because you're denying the experience and you're gaining the experience. It's just, you have to think about it like really intelligently and make the right choices at the right time, steal the right buffs. Don't go YOLO, go all in for a buff when you're gonna die, because it's not worth it. But if you can pick it, why not?
And that kill on Hyperion is definitely worth it. This is a concentrated effort from Potato Boys to control this Ymir jungle. Probably would have been probably would have seen the same plays had it been any other jungler. Just a conscious effort to really deny the enemy jungle. Sun Touch in the air, looking for vote NBK, who will die eventually, and Dirgius is the one that gets the kill onto that one. The speed buff has been secured.
They got the first speed buff.
Yep, and Ymir will not be able to pick it up. So speed buff will instead just rot.
He may get it if he's got blink.
So that's an interesting decision as we see Gold Fury pulled by Potato Boys. We'll keep an eye on this as Q is level 10, and Bacchus is one of the better stealing gods in the game. Jumped a little bit too soon. Here comes the Vulcan ultimate. That will do a lot of damage to adapting, and a good intoxicate from Q, and will go ahead and secure the kill. Hyperion comes in, gets a kill himself. Ultimate is good. Down goes Arrow. Beautiful counterplay coming out from Disco Ninjas, all on the back of that Earthshaker. Fantastic, fantastic ultimate choice coming out from the Vulcan in the middle lane. This is one of the better plays that we've seen come from Disco Ninjas. A good upswing of about 1,000 gold. Going to shorten the lead to 2,600. Still behind, but definitely not as far behind as they were. So, the speed buff. Hyperion died. We saw Vulcan come over here along with somebody else and clear this buff. Is that the right decision? Do they want to give their experience to the jungler, or are they just afraid of, or should they be afraid of the eventual invade, since that's literally the first speed buff they've seen?
I think it was best that he took it when he'd taken it, because it's the risk of getting invaded. The jungler can always go into the lane and just steal off the lane. Because that's the problem I have sometimes. I let people leech my jungle, and then I don't share experience. So it's easy enough saying it, but yeah, you just have to leech the experience. That's all to it, really.
We see that a lot from Shing for sure. That's definitely
Yeah, that
something that happens. At the moment, though, we are going to take a brief break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. 6-9 is the score. Potato Boys in the lead at the moment, 16 and a half minutes in. We'll be right back with the conclusion of this game. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the European Challenger Cup. Unfortunately, that last match was not able to be recovered. We had a little bit of a corrupt demo file, so not able to go and bring you all of the action. It was about a 20-minute game. Potato Boys did go ahead and wind up winning that, so we will see the ever-present finals of Agilitas versus Potato Boys. The Potato Boys comp did wind up working out. We just didn't see what we needed to see from Vulcan. Isn't that right, Raffer?
That's right. The power of Vulcan. He's just got such insane poke. I love him, dude. I'm gonna run him jungle one day.
We saw that come out from SK. Not really victorious, but definitely something worth talking about. If you guys are just joining us, by the way, we're heading into our finals matchup. It's going to be a best of 3 again between Agilitas and Potato Boys. The same matchup we've seen for the past 5. This will be the 6th week. Lots and lots of talent on both of these rosters. Also joining me today is my esteemed co-caster. We have hi-rez here, jungler for Mortality Esports, a team in the SPL. He is, well, where can people find you if they want to follow you, hi-rez?
You can find me on Twitter. My name's hi-rez on that. And you can find me on Twitch. And my name's hi-rez on that. I use the imagination.
Nice and simple. So twitter.com/hi-rez and twitch.tv/hi-rez. You can go ahead and find Mortality's own hi-rez. He'll be giving us some insight in our broadcast booth tonight. We're going to get into these picks and bans in just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and cut to a brief break screen. We'll bring you the finals as soon as possible. Stay tuned for the European Challenger Cup Week 6 finals.